Yo! Yo!
Hello!
We're back with a second episode
of the Shrieking Geeks, a podcast where two nerds yell about things that we like and we have strong opinions on things. That's why we made it.
I'm Glitch.
I'm Keiki.
And today, I think it's no real mystery what we're talking about today.
We are talking about Avengers Infinity War, and we are filming this like a week before it comes out. We were filming it the day that we saw it. We literally got back like 2 hours ago. But we didn't want to make this our first episode, so we're pushing it off until next week, giving some more people time to see it. But obviously, if you haven't seen it, why'd you even click on this? Leave now.
Leave now, please.
Giant spoiler warning.
This whole thing is
only discussing
spoilers.
We are literally just discussing things that happened in this movie. So if you do not want spoilers, do not watch this. If I see a single comment that are like, "I haven't seen it yet. Why are you spoiling it for me?" I will personally come to your house and fight you. I managed to not get any spoilers before I saw this movie.
Which was
I thought someone spoiled it for me, and then but they were like, "Yeah, this is confirmed to have happened," and then it didn't happen. So I was like, "Bless up." That's kind of why I wasn't super bothered about it, because I was like, he just said that he hadn't seen it before. So yeah. I was like, he doesn't know for a fact that this happened, so maybe it doesn't, and it didn't, so it was fine.
I was very careful, because I got like half of this latest Star Wars movie spoiled for me, but that's not what we're talking about today!
So I have legitimately like an entire page of talking points about this damn movie.
It was good. It was a really good movie.
Oh, it was so
emotional distress was probably still worth it, I guess.
It was such a good movie. I mean, how could it not have been a good movie? But it was like really good. It added a ton to the characters, especially ones that we haven't seen much of yet, and it was just so, like, the action scenes were so good, the effects were so good, the costumes were so good. The dialogue was just the perfect mix between, like, important and funny, and it was just so... It's exactly what you could expect from, like, the biggest mashup of Marvel, who always does a phenomenal job on movies.
I think one reason the emotional distress was worth it is because I don't believe any... I think we're safe to spoil things now, yes?
Yes.
Because we're about to start, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, and you don't want spoilers, I know some people want to be, like, emotionally prepared, so that's on you. But, like, if you haven't seen it, you don't want spoiler, you better fuck off right now, because I'm about to spoil the whole ending. I don't believe that they killed off half of their entire cast of characters.
I know. I don't believe anyone is dead. Legitimate. Okay, like, the only people that I think may actually be dead are the people that they killed off before the very end of the movie. Like, Loki might be dead, but I highly doubt it.
They've killed him off like 14 times and he's still going. At this point, they can't even pass to kill him off.
Yeah,
I don't believe that.
I really don't believe it.
His death scene was so quick and so early in the movie.
I know. They, like, part of me is like, they might have made it that way to kind of make you believe that he's not dead, and then they're like, haha, he is dead. But part of me just really, truly does not believe that he's dead. So really the only person who I think is actually legitimately dead is Gamora and maybe Vision.
Maybe Vision.
Yeah. Because Gamora, she, like, that was like some straight up, that was like a death scene that you give someone in a movie.
Yeah.
Same with Vision, and Vision wasn't in with, he was really close to being in with all of the people that got turned to dust, but he wasn't, and there was, like, and he had a really good, like, proper movie death as well.
But, like, everyone else that they just killed off all at once at the end, it was a really dramatic, soul-crushing moment, but the amount of, drama per character, like, wasn't enough for it to feel like any of them were dying, except maybe Spider-Man.
My boy! any of them
Anyway.
are dead, I'm legitimately gonna make freaking riot. In the
Yeah, I
street.
had like a list of people that I was like, if these 3 people die, I will die with them.
Yeah,
and 2 of them apparently died, but I don't believe they died, especially since the 2 of them have been confirmed as having sequels in the next few years.
Basically,
So,
my list of people that I did not want to die. Like, I was like, if I don't want anybody to die, but if anyone but these people dies, I will survive. And that list was Doctor Strange, Peter Parker, Tony Stark, and Bruce Banner, and half of them were just like, at the end of the movie, just like, LOL, goodbye. And I'm like, no, not today.
So,
Especially
I don't
'cause
believe
it's like,
it. I
out
don't
of
believe-
those 4, Doctor Strange and Peter were at, like, the top.
Yeah, my list was Tony Stark, Doctor Strange, and Peter Parker. I was like, if any of those people die, and I thought if it was gonna be anyone, it was gonna be Tony that they were
I
gonna
know. It was, like, legitimately the 2 people that everyone was like, yeah, they're probably not gonna be the ones making their way out of this alive, were Tony and Steve, and both of them are fine. Well, they're not fine, but they're alive. They're still kicking.
Yeah, someone pointed out, actually, as several people did on Tumblr, that all the people who didn't disintegrate are, like, the OG Avengers.
You're right.
Like, the original 6 Avengers are the ones that are still, like, around.
That's true. Because, let's see, it was Steve, Tony, Bruce, Black Widow.
She's a blanking on the.
I was like, who else is there? And then like I would be like, oh, this person. No, they're not. No, they're dead and also not new. Oh, and they're also new. Who else? Who else is in the McFreaking Avengers? I just watched the first one. Thor. Did Thor die? No, he didn't die.
Thor's around.
Right.
Hawkeye's still presumably alive.
He wasn't
in the movie, but it's presumed if they don't kill a major character on screen, it's presumed that they are alive.
Yeah.
And
then, I mean, literally everyone in the Guardians of the Galaxy except Rocket is McFreaking dead.
I think Nebula's still around too.
Yeah, but she's not like... She's alive, but she's not like in...
She's not the Guardians.
She's not part of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
She's one of the kids.
Speaking of Nebula, I think she deserves more appreciation. I think she's a really cool character.
Like and she's
played
nice
by
now.
Karen Gillan.
True.
She's
I do like Karen Gillan.
Yeah, she's like one of those characters who's like not a bad guy, not a good guy, because she's not a good person.
An anti-hero.
Yeah. She's, like, not a good person, and she's on this, like, murderous quest to kill her father, but can you blame her?
Yeah, she doesn't seem to have, like, any violent intentions towards anyone else at this point, which I think is understandable at worst.
He literally whipped parts of her body out of her and replaced them with machinery because she couldn't beat her sister in fights. So I think... if you're gonna want to kill somebody, killing someone who did that to you is overall not the worst motive out there.
Understandable at worst, probably.
Yeah.
So I don't believe any of them are dead. The main reason is because Doctor Strange is going to have a sequel in 2021.
My boy.
So he can't be... It's hard to make a movie about someone who disintegrated. Spider-Man also is going to have a sequel.
And isn't Guardians of the Galaxy gonna have another one?
I think so, and I think Black Panther is too.
Yeah, and it's like, they can't just, like...
They can't...
It would be hard to have, you know, another Doctor Strange or another Spider-Man or another Black Panther when Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and Black Panther are dead, and it would also be pretty hard to have another Guardians of the Galaxy movie when the only one who's still kicking is Rocket McFreaking Raccoon.
It'd just be him and Nebula. That's not gonna work.
Can we appreciate Thor calling Rocket a rabbit the entire time and he doesn't even bother to correct him? He's like, that's fine.
Honestly, Rocket and Thor was like a team I didn't know we needed.
But we need it.
Yeah.
Same with Bucky and Rocket.
It was perfect. Those were perfect I love it.
There were a lot of interactions that I didn't like. There were a lot of, like, kind of pairings that I didn't know. Not, like, pairings, but, like,
Groups
teams
of
that I didn't
characters.
think I needed, but I do. And one of them, I actually wrote a couple of talking points about them. It's Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. Literally every time they interacted, I was like, I didn't know I needed this, but, like, I do. It was like, there was, like, the whole scene where it was just like, oh, we're using our made-up names. And just, like,
Doctor Strange just looks at him like, ugh.
Oh, like,
they made another joke about Doctor Strange's name. If you haven't seen the Doctor Strange movie, because not everyone's seen every Marvel movie, in the Doctor Strange movie, he was like, in like one of his first interactions with like the main antagonist. What did the guy say? He was like talking to him, then he was like Mr. like asking for his name,
and then he said Doctor, and then he was just like Mr. Doctor, and he was like, no, it's Strange, and he was like, maybe a little bit.
No, he was like, who am I to judge? And then Doctor Strange is just like, ugh.
But
because if you once again, if you don't know anything about Doctor Strange, that's his real name. He was a brain surgeon, and his last name's Strange. So
he literally didn't come up with a superhero name. Everyone just kept calling him Doctor Strange, and he was like, "This is fine." But yeah, so there's that. Loved that, and then there was also when they were fighting Thanos, and like my boy Doc Strange was just using, like, his powers to just send Peter going through the air and, like, kicking at Thanos, and he was just like, magic! More magic! Magic with a kick! And I was like, an icon. I love it. I need more.
Yes, I do love that. Here's the thing. One thing I've noticed about the Avengers movies, just, like, all of them in general, is that all the fighting scenes have, like, this weird, like, they have, like, a very specific kind of style to them. Like, the Avengers have a certain fighting style. Because there's, like, there's so many of them. So it's, like, all their fight scenes are, like, a roller coaster of, like, they're winning, no, they're losing, they're winning, no, they're losing. And then it's, like, whatever they're losing, whenever it looks like they're, like, losing, like, things are going bad, it's, like, some other person comes out and says, like, ha! Bet you forgot about this, that this person was still around. And then they, like, do, like, in that scene with, like, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, like, when they, like, when, that, like, ended, because Thanos grabbed Spider-Man and just threw him at Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
You were like, well, oh shit, things are going downhill, and then there's this giant explosion, you're like, oh yeah, Iron Man's still here!
Yeah, they do that a lot, because there's just so many of them, and then it's like, you know, just once you take out one, another one's like, yo, what up?
Yeah, like, another one just, like, appears right there, just like, hello, I'm here to kick your ass.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. I love that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I like that, too. Let me take a look at my talking points. We talked about that. Yeah, let's talk about how Thanos is, like, the biggest bitch ass. So
yeah, hate Thanos.
His motive is, like, not great. Especially because, like, you were saying, like, someone pointed out on Tumblr that it's like, he has all the Infinity Stones. If his motive for killing half the universe is the fact that they're gonna overpopulate their planets and die, then it's like, you can just make more
planets, more resources.
You can kill half of the population of the universe with a snap of your fingers. You can also be like, oh, you're running out of space, you're destroying your planet with, like, greenhouse gases, have another one.
Take it.
Take 5. It's like a 2-for-1 special today, boys. But no, he's just like, let me just kill everybody.
Because he's crazy. And they made... Like, they gave him, like, an interesting motive, because you can kind of see where he's coming from, but they also make sure to make it clear that he's totally crazy, and that's not a good justification.
And then it's like they kind of almost barely humanized him in a way, but also just made me be like, haha, because it's like you're supposed to, I think they were trying to humanize him, but I was like, this bitch trying to commit genocide, I don't give a shit.
And that's like,
if you love your daughter.
Like, that's what, like, a lot of the characters said, was like, Like, it's like, oh, I'm doing this to save the universe. And they're just like, no, you're insane. And he was like, oh, I actually do love my daughter. And Gamora's like, no, you fucking do not. So it's like, they're like trying... They're like basically showing you that from his perspective, he's like a normal, sane human being. But from any normal perspective, he's totally crazy. And he's...
Yeah, I just don't want to see anybody, like, sympathizing with him because, like, oh, he loves Gamora, because it's like, she might be, like, the closest thing to love that he feels towards anyone. And then it just, every time he thinks about that, just makes me think of Nebula. Because it's like, he was like, oh, yes, I love my daughter. And it's just like, oh, okay. If anyone actually buys that crap, then they're like, okay, well, then he loves his daughters. But it's like, he has two! And he only loves one, apparently, because he's just whipping pieces off the other one because she's not as good of a fighter.
Yeah, it's like they're, like, getting it so it's like he almost is humanized, but, like, he's still, like, everything he does is still, like, slight, like, even, like, his motive, the things that are, like, supposed to humanize him are, like, slightly off from doing that. So he's just this weird character.
He's this guy who thinks he's, like, this, like, righteous, mighty god person, but all of his motives are just fucked.
Yeah.
Like, he's just completely fucked, but he thinks what he's doing is right. Like, wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So it's like he's...
To the point where it's like when he does it and he has that weird scene with Gamora as a kid where she's like, what did it cost? And he's like, everything. So it's like he obviously feels like the loss that he's had, but then he's still just fucking crazy and he like kills half the universe.
Almost. And I don't think, because like all the characters were always like, no, you crazy, whenever he tried to say, ah, yes, this is why I'm doing this. It was like, they were trying to... It was like he was almost
we didn't
slightly
time this
humanized.
Again.
It's fine. But, like, not quite. You can just start timing it now. It's probably going to be a long one. And I think it was, like, I don't think he was supposed to be, like, fully humanized. I think it was just, like, here's his motive. He is still a person capable of feeling some amount of emotion. He still sucks, though.
It was kind of like he humanized himself in his head. It was like, everyone was like telling him that what he was doing was fucked up, so then like they showed his own thought processes and like kind of showed how he justified it to himself, and how he was just like, no, I'm just doing this because my planet died because everyone overpopulated it, and I'm just doing this so that the universe can thrive, and I love my daughter, but it's like, honey, you don't.
Not threw her off a cliff for a rock.
Every point, everything you said in that sentence was wrong. It's like that one GIF, like, reaction image thing that I see, and I'm trying to remember what it's from. I feel like it might be from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I'm not 100% sure, but it's just this guy saying, cool motive, still murder. That's pretty much what it is. Like, they made him this very, like, well thought out villain, and they gave him, like, an interesting motive, and, like, kind of got you, like, you kind of see a lot about, like, him and how he thinks what he's, like, he's so sure that what he's doing is right, and that makes him a really good villain, but he's still awful, and I hate him.
They make it, like, clear that he's still the worst.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's a very interesting villain from a writing perspective, though. Good villain.
He's been in it for so long. This whole thing has been built up for literally since like the first Avengers. It's like this whole storyline is just so well thought out. I love it. It's like it's like they start introducing the Avengers and they do all this stuff, and it's like yesterday we watched a video recapping basically everything you need to know for Infinity War, because we've seen pretty much most of the movies. I didn't realize how much of it I had seen until I watched that video and was like, oh yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
But like, it's like they have this whole thing where they set up to the Avengers, and then it's like they have all these movies that set up to the Avengers, and then they have all these like Avengers movies that set up to Infinity War, and then it's like halfway through they throw in the Guardians of the Galaxy, and for a minute you were like, okay, this is something separate, and then they're like, hey, Thanos.
Infinity Stones. The Tesseract is one of those, and then it's like they just start looping it all together, and then it all just leads up to this, and I'm like, yeah. It's like the amount of planning that went into that is like unfathomable.
True, but also,
especially because there were different people working on like all the movies, and they managed to coordinate it so well. And there's not even, from what I know, there's probably gonna be some Marvel nerd that's like, actually, but there's not even really any like continuity errors.
Yeah,
like the worst one is that halfway through the Hulk starts getting played by a different person.
But that's not like an in-universe continuity error. That's just getting a different actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing, here's a little bit of hope. After Infinity War wraps up, they're probably going to keep making, like, Avengers and Marvel movies. Obviously, they're a company. They're going to keep doing this as long as they can.
Yeah.
And as long as they're doing it well, I don't care. So things are, like, getting, like, steadily, like, more intense.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like now they're going to be able to get more, like, kill again. Because they don't have this huge thing they're building up to.
I know. I want it to be, like, at the end, in the end credit scene at the first Avengers, where all they're just sitting in, like, a half destroyed shop eating shawarma in complete silence.
Yeah, it's like all like the first movies, like Doctor Strange's like solo movie was pretty chill.
Yeah.
It's like they can just go back to that level of like introduction movie chill.
Yeah, it's like, and nobody would really be, maybe some of the casual fans would be like, this isn't as interesting anymore, but it's like, one thing that I know from being in so many different fandoms is that we all crave just the chill domestic shit. It's like, I saw someone on Tumblr, we were on Tumblr for like, we pretty much got home, got on Tumblr for 2 hours, and then filmed this. So our whole day has just been Infinity War.
It was research.
But someone on Tumblr was talking about how they started watching, what's it called? It's like, I think it's called Avengers Assemble. It's like an animated TV show about them. And they were talking about how it was like, the episode that they were watching when they wrote that post was one where they were arguing over cookies while Steve tried to run, like, a briefing meeting. And, like, they were like, this is what I need after Infinity War. And it's just like, this is what we all need in movie form after Infinity War. We don't need there to be, like, this big life or death thing, but we need there to be more Avengers movies, and we need it to be like they're just fighting over stupid stuff while they're trying to like get things done. Like, it doesn't have to be this high stakes thing. It can just be us enjoying the characters and the creators, like, you know, obviously having an interesting plotline, but just kind of developing the characters more, maybe bring in some stuff from like comic books that they haven't explored yet.
And they can just like, they have, you know, it can just be like at the, and like if they want to make it like intense, they can just make it like first Avengers movie level of intense, which is pretty chill, even though it involved an alien invasion, New York getting destroyed in a nuke. It's pretty chill.
Which, by the way, was also like all tied in with Thanos, which is just wild, because like
still chill compared to what went down in Infinity War, that's for sure.
Yeah. So let me see. I've talked about this. I'm just going through like all of my talking points. Okay, so we've already talked about how we don't believe that Doctor Strange is not dead, but he's not only not dead, but he's planning things.
Oh, yes, he has.
He knows. He used the Eye of Agamotto. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right.
That's how they've said it, I believe.
I don't remember how they pronounced it in the movie, and I've read it in the comics because...
I think Agamotto.
By the way, the Doctor Strange comics are top tier, and I, like, never got into Marvel comics, and then it's like Doctor Strange happened, and I was like, dang, I really like Doctor Strange. I want to read the comics. And now I'm like, I might read more of the comics because now I just stan Marvel, I guess.
That happened. It was a very, very slow descent. But
much
I think
slower than any other thing that I've fallen
I've
into.
been like descending since like the first Avengers came out, which was a long ass time ago. And it just took the whole Infinity War experience for me to be like, yeah, I'm gone. It's like, too late for me.
Like, once Doctor Strange came out, I was just like, okay, so
okay, so I'm in the specific Doctor Strange fandom, but I was like, but I just don't know if I know enough about Marvel to be in the Marvel fandom. But first of all, you don't have to know everything about the Marvel to be in the Marvel fandom.
Being a fan is measured by how much you like something, not how much you know about something.
That's a whole nother podcast,
It
though.
actually is.
Like, it's on our list of topics for future podcasts. But basically, yeah. And Doctor Strange used the Eye of Agamotto to literally go forward and review, like, millions and millions of different possibilities. And he found one where they lived. And he knows what they need to do to survive, and he still gave Thanos, like, the Eye of Agamotto, and he still, like, let all that stuff happen, which means that it must be what needs to be done to win.
Right before he disintegrated or whatever to actually happen, because once again, he didn't disintegrate. He has a movie coming out in a couple years. But he said it was the only way, which out of context seems like something that might be said in someone's, like, death scene, but in context it was like, it sounds like a response. It was kind of like, it was weird. It was a weird thing for him to say at that specific moment.
Yeah, because it's like, it didn't really make sense unless you look at it like he knows how this needs to go. Because it's like, when you literally, like, allow the villain to, like, get something that he needs, and because it's like, if he hadn't given Thanos the stone, then it's like Tony would have died, but then it's like he would have gone to Earth, and then he wouldn't have been able to, like, reverse Vision dying, so he wouldn't have gotten the stone, and then everything would have, and then he would only have 4 stones still. And then they would have more of a chance. But he still gave the stone to save Tony, even though he said that he wouldn't do that.
Yeah, which, first of all, when he said that, if he had, like, the choice between, like, saving Tony and Peter, or, like, the time stone, he would choose the stone. I was like, haha, I call bullcrap on that. And I was right. I was like, if he actually has to do that, he would not.
Yeah.
If you know anything about Doctor Strange, he's the sweetest. He's a cinnamon roll. He would not.
Yeah.
He would not do that.
But it's like, Tony literally looked at him and said, why would you do that? And he said, because we're in the end game now. Which implies that it's not like, if it was only because he didn't want Tony to die, then he probably would have
He didn't say because we're in the end game now. He said we're in the end game now, which at first kind of just seemed like he was, like, dodging the question, like he was just, like, moving on, the world's ending.
But he probably was answering the question, because it feels like that he might have been, like, it's obviously, like, that he has, like, a reason, like, the reason that he just said, we're in an end game now, and the reason when before he, like, died, or in quotation marks, died,
quote unquote, died,
he was like, this was the only way, is because he knows that in order to, either he knows that in order to defeat Thanos, they have to let Thanos win, or he knows that in order to defeat Thanos, Iron Man has to live, or whatever he knows that this needs to happen the way he's happening.
Some shit, and he's
planning. He knows what's up. Love my boy Doc Strange. He's my fave.
Yeah, I'm still really proud of myself, because as soon as he said that he would prioritize saving the stone over, like, Tony and Peter, I was like, I call bullcrap, and I was right. Because as soon as he was actually faced with that decision, he was like, no piece of stone, take it.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Tony Stark, dad of the century. Alright, let me just say, well, first of all, he wants to actually be a dad, because he was talking to Pepper about it. And he would be great. He would do great. This is obvious because he's the biggest, like, dad to Tony. We talked about this in the last podcast.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh,
briefly,
yeah,
because we were
yeah,
talking
the
about
parental-
parental figures to people who aren't actually like their kids, and he is just a total just like dad figure to Peter, and he just cares so much about his well-being, and he's great. He's great. He wins Dad of the Century Award. Thanos wins Worst Dad of the Universe Ever Award. Thanos can fuck off. But yeah. Let me see. Peter Parker, my son,
Yes,
deserves
love him.
the world.
Love
If
him.
he actually is dead, you do not understand how McFrickin' upset. Like, I will be so upsetty spaghetti because he's 15! He's younger than both of us!
Oh yeah, I was like, when I was like thinking about like who might die, and I was like, I'm pretty sure Doctor Strange's safe because I'm pretty sure they're making another movie, and I was like, I'm pretty sure Peter's safe because isn't killing like a 15-year-old like a little dark for Marvel? Apparently no, apparently it isn't. Apparently not. Apparently they can do that. That's a thing that they can do.
Listen, alright, the two things that, like, when everybody was dying, I was like, oh no, Mike, like, my heart was hurting, and then Doctor Strange started disintegrating, I was like, oh no, and then the death scene for Peter happened, and I was like, McFreaking crying in the club, okay? He's so young. He's younger than you. He's younger by several years than me, and it's like, he's been through so much as a 15-year-old, and he, like, still has so much to live for, and so much that he hasn't done and hasn't seen yet, and he doesn't want to die, obviously. And he was scared.
And he's like not at the age where he can be like a lot of the other superheroes who are like, yes, I nobly accept my fate to save the world.
Because he's like a sophomore! He can't even drive yet! He doesn't deserve this. He deserves the world. He is my son. I love him.
So do I.
Gah.
So...
I can keep going if you...
I can. How about we talk about that badass fight scene in Wakanda? That whole, like, action sequence, that was great. I liked it when, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, and what's that one girl's name from Black Panther? I can't remember.
I think it's Okoye. That's how it's spelled. I can't remember how it's pronounced.
Yeah, her. I don't know any
They
of
are
them.
the baddest bitches. Let me
Yeah,
just say,
it was just like
I
all
literally
three of them ganging up on that one chick. It was like, yes, it's the badass girls throwing down.
Strong female character club.
Throwing down. That was cool.
That was so good.
Also,
that was
just
like
what were you saying?
they were just like, they're the baddest bitches, let me just say. Like, Natasha, she's great. Wanda, she's great. Been through too much suffering, deserves better. Okoye is an icon, alright? She's like talking to T'Challa about like what she thought opening Wakanda to the world meant, and she was just like, we could host the Olympics, get a Starbucks, I don't know, not this. It's like, I love her. I love her. And she's just cool. Judging everybody on like the down low, or like
her look of like disgust when like Bruce Banner like face planted, and then
that's so good. I love Bruce so much too. He's my favorite angsty boy.
I love him too. He's good.
Yeah, no. And then it's to go on to Bruce. It's like I really like him. He's like probably in like my top 5 favorite Avengers, just because it's like, I don't know.
Top 5 favorite. There's not that many.
Top 5 favorite superheroes.
That's like most of the Avengers.
All of my favorite superheroes are like Avengers. I wrote them down. It's okay. Top spot is definitely Doctor Strange.
True. Yes.
Second spot is kind of, I'm torn between Tony and Peter because I love them both dearly.
True.
And Iron Man was my favorite superhero before I found out about Doctor Strange. And then Bruce, and then Clint.
I don't know why I like Clint so much. He's just like, he doesn't want to be there ever. And I'm like, I'm mood. And then Bruce is like, he's really funny. And he's really sweet. And I just like, he has a lot of angst in his story. Because it's like, he has like such a big struggle with like being the Hulk and not being able to like control things. And it's like, he's literally like been through so much. And he's so smart, and he deserves better, and I really like him. And then it's like, you know, he's in like the Hulk Buster thing, and he's like, hey, this is great. It's like being the Hulk while not being the Hulk. And he just face plants, and then Okiye is just like, this bitch.
Really? Also, when like Wanda came down from like the thing when that weird steamroller of death came like charging through the planes, and she just like sent it up into the sky, and what's her name?
Okoye? I don't know. I'm probably not pronouncing it yet, but it's literally just Okoye. So I'm trying my best. They said her name like twice in the movie, and then I'm just like, oh. It's like when I know who she is, and I love her, but I just don't know how to pronounce her name. It makes me sad.
They're like, sometimes movies just don't say characters' names enough.
I forgot Clint's name for a while, and then like we were rewatching the first Avengers, and they called him like Agent Barton, and then I was just like, hoopst. And then like they were like, oh yeah, Hawkeye, and I was like, his name's Barton. I thought it was Clint. It's both.
But anyway, and then like,
Okoye is
Okoye.
Okoye.
Probably.
Okoye, I don't know. Something like that. Okoye.
I trying. Anyway, she was just like, why
okay
No.
Okay, yeet.
and she was just like, why hasn't she been down here the whole time?
That was good. That was an iconic moment. Let me scroll back up on my talking points. Let me see. Thor is OP as fuck. Can we talk about
Thor? I love Thor.
His entrance in the Wakanda scene is iconic. Yes. And then who was it that was just like, you guys, like, who was like, oh, you guys are all screwed.
That was
now.
Bruce.
Yeah, that was Bruce. He's like he's so OP. He's a god. It's like he's so strong. It's like he literally like pulled that one star thing into like motion just because he could hold on to the spaceship with a rope and just stand there and not move. And while it's going full speed ahead, and then it's like, he's so strong. It's like you give him a hammer or an axe, and he's just like, yeet, and just takes out like everyone in like a 5-mile radius or whatever. And he's really cool. I love Thor a lot too. Like Thor Ragnarok. He had like he has such epic entrances and such epic fight scenes, and he's so funny.
He's probably in my top 5 favorite superheroes.
I know, I kind of forgot about him when I was writing the top 5 list, and now I'm like, dang, I gotta squeeze in him somewhere. I might kick Clint off. Sorry, Clint. I forgot about Thor momentarily. But
Thor is
gosh,
awesome.
He's just so great,
Love
and he's so
Thor.
funny, and he's like really like just kind and smart. And then he doesn't know how... He's, like, really smart, but he doesn't know how Earth works, so he comes across as, like, goofy and dumb, and it's like, that's...
Which I still love. Like, he called Rocket a rabbit the whole movie.
I know, I love that. I love that. And then... Bucky deserves a happy life in Wakanda and just deserves to be a peaceful hut monk or whatever he was. He's been through so much and he regrets everything that he's done so much, even though it's not his fault. And then he's just in Wakanda chilling for a couple years, living in a hut, wearing some like monk robes, chilling with some kids, having a good time, like aggressively trying to get over his brainwashing. And then it's like, willfully not having an arm just in case, like, you know, he loses it again, so then it's harder for him to hurt people. And it's like, he just deserves to be happy and live his dang life.
Also, him spinning Rocket around, and then while they were just shooting everyone, that was
hills
good.
are alive, but you ain't, bitch.
Perfect.
I love
love
him.
that
He deserves
scene.
better.
And then Rocket offered to buy his gun and then his arm, and then just apparently under his breath said, "I'm gonna get that arm." Love it. I love that. I love Rocket. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way. They're all good.
Every character in Marvel is a gift, except Thanos, as previously stated. He can fuck off. My next talking point is just, where is Clint? I need him in all caps. I feel like we've discussed this already. He's chilling.
Yeah.
I think they said he was with his family on, like...
Yeah.
Did he say they were on house arrest or something?
I think because of, like,
Because
the Civil War
yeah.
and all the laws that they all definitely broken
Yeah.
a million trillion times.
So he's just chilling. He deserves it. He deserves a vacation. He doesn't want to have to deal. Shirley and Peter need to interact and be best friends.
True. I guess. I don't know where that's coming from, honestly.
Cause it's like, they're both just these, like, really young, like, kids that, like, are, like... Shirley,
That's
I don't
true.
know
She's
how-
like 16. Isn't
Yeah,
she?
she's like 16 or 17, so it's like they're in the same age group and they're both very like perky and funny and happy, and they're just trying to help out as much as they
That's
can with
true.
what they have.
I see it.
They both make like pop culture references all the time.
I kind of like forgot a lot about Shirley, but as you were talking, I was like, oh yeah, I was like remembering a lot about it. And
Yeah,
I was like, yeah,
I think
yeah.
that I support them interacting and being best friends forever. Same with Peter and Steven. They need to interact more and be best friends as well.
Yeah,
Peter just needs to be best friends with everybody, I think.
especially like Star-Lord. They can just like
Yes.
make a bunch of like. They're both named Peter, aren't they?
Yeah. They could just be Peter and Peter, the iconic old, like, pop culture reference duo of the century.
Also, Peter Parker yet again saving the day with a movie reference. Perfect. Love that always about him.
That was great. And then just, like, that iconic part where he just does, like, your power is nothing compared to mine, and then Iron Man is like, yeah, but the kid's seen more movies than you, and they just gets flung out the side of the ship.
Perfect. Love it.
I love it.
Also, a team I did know we needed was Tony Stark and Doctor Strange. Did know we needed that. Yeah.
It's so funny, because
Just
they're
that,
both
like,
just
the first conversation was just 102% sass.
I know, they're just both such just sassy bitches. It's like, no, like, just, of course they were gonna butt heads and not get along, and then it's like, it's so funny, because there's that one scene, like, right after the ring first arrives, and Doctor Strange does that thing to, like, stop it from, like, literally, like, blowing everything over, and he just looks at Tony, just winks, and then Tony just, like, rolls his eyes, and it's just like, alright! And it's like, they're both they have such, like, similar personalities, except Tony's a bit more big-headed than Steven is, and then Steven's just got magic powers.
He
just like,
used
haha.
to be pretty
Oh yeah, he
big-headed.
used to be the
And then
most conceited ever.
And then character development happened. Now he's a sweet cinnamon roll, and I love him.
Yes.
Anyway.
Half of this is just us talking about how much we love Doctor Strange. This is an entirely other podcast. Once again, it's literally written down as a topic for a whole hour-long podcast about how much we freaking love Doctor Strange. You don't understand. He's underappreciated. I love.
Also, you're embarrassing me in front of the wizards.
It's just like the dynamic that adding in all these characters creates of all these people. It's like they don't know what's going on. They're all kind of in this like thing where it's like they don't quite get along, but then they also really do get along, and then it's like they're like all kind of trying to like one up each other, like with Thor and Star-Lord. It was like Thor was just there chilling, and then Star-Lord is just like suddenly like dropping his voice like 3 octaves and being like, I am cool too. It's like they're all such nice people, and then it's like you put them together and then they're just like, welp.
Which is the same dynamic that they had at, like, the start of Avengers, where they, like, all didn't, like, quite get along. It's good, and I love it.
Yeah. Hold on a second. My phone was texting me, and it was mildly important, but yeah.
Also,
just the dynamic between all the characters is great.
I loved, speaking of character dynamics, whenever Tony was talking to Star-Lord, Drax, and Mantis, he looked like his soul was eroding out of his body and moving on to, like, the astral plane. As he tried to
Astral projecting!
better than Doctor Strange.
Every time he had to interact with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Just his face, whenever they said something, he was just like, why? Why?
Like, these people save the galaxy.
These
fools.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, gosh.
I love it.
My next talking point is just me in all lower caps saying I'm dying. Which is
That's
accurate.
true. I didn't cry. I just kind of felt
I
like
cried.
shook, I guess.
I had tears. I cried.
Like, I was, like, just kind of in shock, generally.
It was like I was
I
sitting
almost
there crying, and I was just like, none of these people are actually dead. You know the shape up, and I was still like, but my tears. My next talking point is vines exist in the Marvel universe, which I was talking to you about before we watched.
Yeah,
the
I don't
movie.
know when anyone referenced a vine.
In Black Panther, when T'Challa was wearing like those like ceremonial slippers or whatever, she was like, "What are those?" Which is a vine.
Oh, yeah.
Which means I just really want there, after Infinity War happens and there's domestic thing, I just want... One, I feel like Peter and Shuri would just be quoting vines at each other all the time, which is something I need. And then two, it's like, I just want them. There's so many vines about Marvel, and I want them to find them. Like the one I was talking to you about, which is like, how did you take down Captain America? We shot him in the legs because his shield is the size of a dinner plate, and he is an idiot. It's like, I want Steve Rogers to watch that vine.
Perfect.
And, you know, to segue from that, he's got a new shield now. And it's weird and tiny and bullish. It's even smaller now.
He has 2 of them, though, I think.
Yeah.
And it's pointy this time, so
They're
he can
kind of
stab
like-
people with
They're
it.
kind of like shaped like bullets, and they're more like arm guards. But I mean, if he can pull it off, he can pull it off. I don't know. I'm not.
That's like
complaining.
2 people who changed their iconic weapons. Like, Captain America doesn't have his iconic shield anymore. He has arm guard things, and Thor doesn't have a hammer. He has an axe that's like infinitely cooler, honestly.
Honestly, if we're being real, I still wonder if it's like only the worthy can wield it.
Maybe.
I like that. I'm like, my favorite thing about that is when it's like somebody picks it up when they're not supposed to be able to. I really want Peter to just pick it up. You know,
It's gone. It's.
I know, but like, I wish it wasn't. So just that it's like,
I
Peter
like
could just be like,
the
"Here you
scene-
go," and then he's just holding it, and then Thor shook.
I like it, the moment in the second Avengers when people were like, when like all the other Avengers were trying to lift it and Thor was laughing at them, and then like Steve just moved it just just slightly. He didn't even pick it up. It just like slightly moved, and then Thor was like offended.
That's why I want that's why I wish that the hammer wasn't gone, or that the axe has that same, like, only the worthy can wield it, because I just want one of, like, the new Avengers. I just want pure little Peter Parker to just be like, "Oh, here you go, Thor," and to just pick it up and hand it to him, and then Thor's just freaking shook. That's all I need. I just want all these, like, pure, funny domestic moments. Also, Captain Marvel, possible sequel, plot point.
Yeah, at the end credits scene, Nick Fury sends a signal to someone, there's a symbol on it, like after it said it was sent. Didn't know what it was. People on Tumblr were talking about Captain Marvel. Looked it up. Definitely Captain Marvel.
Who hasn't even, like, been in anything ever. She hasn't been talked about. She hasn't been in any of the movies. Nobody's, like, mentioned her or said she exists. And now, like, they're probably gonna bring her in for the part 2, which I need right now immediately.
Yeah, I need that to come out tomorrow.
I needed it
later
so that
today,
it was, like, I would
preferably.
leave the theater, walk back out to the ticket desk, buy the ticket to the next one, and then just turn around, walk back in, and watch it. Like, I don't need to wait a year or 2 years or however many long. I need it now. Now. But yeah, Captain Marvel. I don't know much about her. She looks cool. She has a cool character design, and nobody's like talked about her at all in the movie. So I'm excited to see if they bring her in, which they probably will, and what'll happen with that. I think that'll be cool.
Okay, so one of my talking points is I'm very proud of Loki for not actually, like, being evil again.
I know!
He stayed a good guy for one movie.
And
Finally.
it killed him!
But he did it, though!
I know, it's like
Finally!
in the trailer, it was like him when in front of Thanos presenting him with the Tesseract, and it was like and he looked so serious, and everyone was just like,
Loki, why?
you were fine for like 5 minutes, now you're just doing this, and it was because he didn't want his brother to die. It was like he was trying to pretend that he was all cool and badass and didn't care, and would rather, like, have the Tesseract than have Thor, and then he just, like, watches Thor get tortured for legitimately, like, 30 seconds, and then just immediately gives up and hands it over.
And then he tries to stab him.
I know.
Which, his cunning plan was a little bit undercut by the fact that he mentioned he was the god of mischief during his little speech. It's kind of like, saying you're the god of mischief is basically just being like, yes, I've just revealed to you that it's literally in my nature as a person to betray you, but you can definitely trust me 100%, totally.
Yeah, and then the other thing is when he was making that speech, he called himself Odin's son, which he's never done. He's talked in, like, every single movie about how he's the rightful heir to the throne of Asgard, but he's never, ever since he found out that he was an ice giant, he has never called himself Odin's son. And then he did. Because he was always angry that he was adopted and that he was never told, and that he was, like, that he was actually, like, some, like, part of the race that was, like, Asgardians, like, mega rivals or whatever. But then he did. And then he saved Thor. And then he freaking got choked to death, and I swear if he's dead, I'm gonna riot.
I don't think he's dead.
They've killed him off too much for anybody to believe it. They could literally... It's like with Moriarty in Sherlock. No matter how much they're like, oh, no, he's definitely dead. Everyone's gonna be like, is he though? Is he? He's not. Stop playing. He's not. Bring him back.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it just doesn't happen. It's like, nah. Can't be dead when you're him. You can't die when you're that much of an icon. Who's McFrickin' texting me? Wow. Anyway. We've already kind of brushed on this, but I just want to emphasize every interaction with characters that have never met before.
Yes.
Like,
good,
we've talked
good,
about it
love
before.
It.
Like, it's like when Tony meeting, like, the Guardians, and he's, like, astral projecting, or, like, Peter meeting Steven, or, like, just, like, that whole first scene where the Guardians, like, bust into the flying donut, and then it's just, like, Tony and Peter and Doctor Strange fighting, like, the Guardians, and they all end up in this weird standoff thing, and then it's just, like, where's Gamora? Who's Gamora? Why is Gamora? It's, like, I love that. It's so good.
I like how they instantly started fighting. Like, they didn't even, like, start to clarify, are these people... It was probably...
It's probably mostly the Guardians' fault because they were like, that's Thanos' ship. He has Gamora. Let's go. And then so it's like
They saw people and it was like, shoot them!
Spider-Man's spidey senses are tingling and he's like, someone's coming. Then they put off like some like weird grenade, smoke bomb looking thing. And then suddenly there's people shooting at them and they're like, alright, guess they're with Thanos.
And then they established that they weren't. They were like, okay, everything's fine now.
And then there was just, who is your master? What am I supposed to say? Jesus. And then just, you're from America. I'm not from America. I'm from...
No, you're from Earth.
Yeah, right. You're from Earth. I'm not from Earth. Yes, you are. I'm from Missouri. That's on Earth, dipshit.
Love it. I love it. I love it.
It was so good.
Also, Tony Stark calling that one guy Squidward.
I love that.
It's good.
And then it's so funny because there's like, well, that whole scene was just great because it's like the Thanos minions were immediately like mostly focused on Doctor Strange because he had like an Infinity Stone, and then that made Tony be like, "Hey, I'm here too, Squidward."
Yeah,
I loved that. Wong is great. He better not be dead.
I like Wong.
It's possible he is, but like he's great in the comics. Like he has like a pretty he, you know, like Wong in the movies was the librarian, but then like in this movie it kind of seems like that he's more has like the role that he did that he does in the comics, and I love Wong so much in the comics. And then like he's and then in the movie, he's just, like, one, he's really cool, and he's a good fighter, and then he's, like, really funny, and, like, an icon, and then he's just like, I have $200, no, and then he said whatever the currency was, I don't remember, and then it's just like, how much is that? Like $1.50. And then he's just like, alright, well, what do you want? I want a tuna melt, and then the Hulk just smashes through their ceiling. It's like...
I'll tell the deli to make you a metaphysical ham and rock.
I know, it's like, that's so, like, he's just so funny, and I really like the dynamic that Doctor Strange and Wong has, and it's just like, I want that in, like, the Doctor Strange sequel, because he's great. Love Wong. I love Doctor Strange calling him Beyonce. All of that is good.
Is good. Is good.
See, I've already talked about that. Talked about that. The only people who didn't die were the only ones that we all thought would die.
Yeah.
Like, you talked about that. It's like how, like, most of the people who survived are, like, the OG Avengers.
Yeah.
But it's like, everyone was just like, oh, who's gonna die? Tony Stark and or Captain America. And it was like, neither of them died, but everyone else did. And it's like, why you gotta play me like that? Why you gotta play me like that? They really did me dirty, this whole movie.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. One of my talking points is just, I'm riding in the fucking streets, okay? Which is a mood.
I hope it's a mood. You wrote it, like,
yeah.
half an hour ago.
You right. I'm running out of talking points.
One of mine is just, Wong, you're invited to my wedding.
There were so many good lines in that movie. And then it's like, Tony's getting married to Pepper Potts. She hasn't, I don't know much about her.
She's not, like, a huge character.
Yeah, and then it's like, her and him have had such, like, kind of on and off moments. So it made me happy to see them, like, in a stable relationship, and they're getting married, and he wants to have kids.
It's good.
Everything's good. She's probably dead. There's literally a 50-50 chance that she's dead.
It's fine.
It's fine, because as we've said before, nobody's actually dead. They're all alive. No,
They're gonna, I'm not sure if they're all alive, they're either all alive and that didn't kill them, or they're going to fix it somehow.
Yeah, and to go back to, like, the nobody's dead things, like, I really find it hard to believe that Loki's dead. Everyone who got turned to dust, I feel like they're not leaving it like that. And then Vision may be dead, but also since he's kind of like a robot kind of thing, they might be able to fix it.
Yeah.
Who knows? And like with what Bruce was saying, he was like, Vision is partly made up of the Infinity Stone, but he's also made up of all these other different parts. So it's possible that it's fine.
Yeah.
And then Gamora is really the only person who I think is actually probably dead. Unless they do something with, like, the Eye of Agamotto to, like, reverse everything, which they might. I think she's probably the only one that, like, so far that I really truly believe might actually be dead, because it's like, it was shown on scene her dying, and she died in a really dramatic way. She doesn't have a history of dying but not actually dying, and then it's like
Loki does.
Like Loki does, and then it, like, she had to die as a sacrifice to get the Soul Stone, and he got the stone.
Yeah.
So she did actually die.
That sucks a lot.
But it does suck, but, like, on average, I can survive with Gamora being dead. Not uber upset about that.
I will live.
Yeah.
I will live.
Yeah. One of my things is, I officially stan Marvel now. We already talked about that.
Yeah, we were, like, falling into, we like the movies and we watch them, to, like, okay, casual fans to just... This just kind of proved it. I think the trailer from a few months ago, I was honestly like, it's too late for me, isn't it? Because, like, every time as a person, I'd be like, that's that person, yee! Which I was doing during the movie, too. I was just be like, yes, yes, yes.
I literally, like, clapped very quietly like this.
I kept
Every
going,
time,
like,
anything happened. Yeah.
I was like, oh, hell yes.
I mean, honestly, I kind of pretty much decided that, like, Marvel owns my ass when we saw the Infinity War trailer and the new Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them trailer, and I was more excited for Infinity War.
Yeah, the Fantastic Beasts trailer wasn't... It was like a teaser trailer, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the super intense dramatic trailer.
You're right. But, like, I'm freaking excited for that movie, too, but I was like... I was so, like... I got, like, tingles when I was watching, like, the Infinity War trailer. I was so ready, and then I wasn't ready, and I'm still not ready.
It's like that going on us, like, reacting to things in the movie. In that one scene, I can't remember if I talked to you about this before or after we started recording. This whole day's just been a blur. But the one scene where Vision and Wanda were getting chased around through Scotland.
Yeah.
And then they, like, get, like, slowed down for a second in, like, the train station.
Yes.
And I was just like, okay, this is the moment where either someone dies, something badass happens, and then, like, the train went by, and there was just, like, a shadowy person. I was like, who's that? And then it was Captain America, and I was like, yes!
It was like, I saw that and I was like, oh, who is that? And I don't know, like, I could just tell from, like, his silhouette that it was Captain America, and I was like, that's Captain America, that's Captain America!
Falcon, that's his name, right? Falcon?
Yes.
Sam, okay. Came out and was just, like, ready to wreck him, and so did, like, Natasha, and I was like, yes, I am alive, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, in that one, when they, like, said that they should remove the stone from Vision, and then, like, they were like, well, the government won't let us go anywhere to do that, and they were like, I know a place, and then, like, that music started playing, I was like, yes! Yes!
I know. It was like, I knew it was like when the 70, like, it was like when Bruce was like, I'm calling somebody, and then, like, 80s music started playing,
and then it just had like space as a thing. This is like unrelated to what you were talking. It just
It's kind of like a similar.
Yeah, it was like I know a place, and then there's Wakanda, and then you're like, yeah, and then it's like I'm gonna make a call, and then it just cuts. Then like he's like winging the phone up, and then there's 80s music, and then it cuts, in this title thing for the location just says space, and I'm like,
It was like the same thing, because it's like the music, like with Wakanda, like the music like overlapped like into the previous scene for a second, so you're just like, yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's good. It was good. I was like, yes.
I have
And when Thor like rained down from the sky to wreck everyone during the fight scene, I was like, yes.
I know.
It was good. It was good.
It's so good. So I only have like 2 more talking points.
It's fine. I think we've been doing this for like about an hour.
Yeah, so one is the ships that are happening. Because one,
yeah.
Wanda and Vision, cute.
True, yes.
I don't want
cute.
Vision to die just because he and Wanda need to have a happy life together.
I'm here for
it
that.
It was really sweet.
Yes,
and then poor Wanda. It was like in the last movie she's in for like a significant chunk of time. No, like in Age of Ultron, she's introduced. She sees her brother die, and then she finally gets a little bit of happiness with a Vision. Who, when like they first started having kind of like a flirtatious kind of vibe in. I can't remember if it was Civil War. Yeah.
Yes.
It was like a bunch of people who were mad about that and were just like, why they gotta force this? And it was like, literally, they're married with kids in the comic. But like, anyway, I was like that started happening. She finally gets a little bit of happiness, and then she sees Vision die twice. Once because she has to kill him so that half the universe doesn't die, and then she does it, succeeds, and then he just reverses it and then kills himself, and it's like, stop it. And then she's just sitting there, and then when she kind of disintegrates, she's just sitting there, just kind of over his body, and she looks like relieved when she starts disintegrating.
Her and Thor need like Thor and Tony Stark. Someone just needs to give those 3 like a break. And Bucky needs those 4 just need like a vacation
and like a big hug, because it's like Thor literally like
and
literally
friends who aren't dead.
It's like literally in the movie. Rocket's just like, okay, so your brother just died. That sucks. What about your dad? Oh, he's dead, and your sister's dead, your mom's dead, your best friend's dead, everyone's dead, isn't he? Oh, you don't even have... And then he's like, I have nothing left to lose. And then Tony's been through so much suffering. Bucky's been through so much suffering. Wanda's been through so much suffering. Y'all just need like a big hug and a long vacation. Which is probably, like, that's pretty much probably what Clint needed, too. And he took it. He was like, I am out. See ya.
And he deserved it.
But
he's so, like, done all the time with everything. But those, like, 4, they need, like, a break.
Yeah. Getting on just, like, back on the topics of, like, relationship. There's a bunch of, like, canon ones that are good.
Yes, like Natasha
and Bruce.
That's cute.
That's cute.
At first, when like they were first hinting at it, I was like, really? But then like that scene, like in Infinity War, I was like, yes, okay, go, good. Yes.
I was pretty much on board with it when she was like singing to him to calm him down, and I was like,
I thought that scene was a little like awkward. So
it
I was
was
like,
a little awkward, but I was also like, but they're both kind of awkward people. Like Bruce especially, and then Natasha's been, you know, trained to be a super spy her whole life, so feelings aren't really her strong suit. So I'm alright with them being like the staple, really awkward couple in the Avengers.
I'm here for that.
I'm here for that. Good. And then we've talked about Tony and Pepper. And then there's the weird shit. Okay, but
generated.
Some of them aren't that weird. Like a lot of people ship Steve and Bucky, which is understandable.
I can see it. I would be okay with that.
If it happened, I'd be like, yeah.
I don't like actively ship it, but if it was a thing, I'd be like approved.
I see where they're coming from, because it's like they care about each other like so much, and they've had just like
they've been through some shit to TM, and it's like I'm like I don't ship them, but I just want them to be happy and to be in the same place, whether it's friends, more than friends, I don't care. I just want them to be together and to not be like dying and having a bad time. They just deserve to just be chill and live their lives and have a good time and just enjoy it in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a lot of people ship Steve and Tony, and they didn't have a good time in Civil War.
Those poor people. Those poor people.
And then it's like, I don't see that as much, but again, if it happened, I'd be like, this is fine. That's pretty much with, like, every, like, really, like, ship or, like, relationship that's happened and, like, or been hinted at. In, like, Marvel, it's, like, pretty much I'm not like, yes, I really want this to happen, but it starts happening, and at first I'm kind of like, yeah, and then I'm like, okay, this is good. I approve.
So it's, like...
Stamp of approval.
It's, like, most of them, it's, like, there are a lot of ships that, like, maybe don't make sense, but none of them are, like, really... Like, there are some fandoms where we get, like, really shitty ships. None of them in the Marvel fandom. All the Marvel fandoms, at least they have, like... Maybe they don't have much of a basis, but at least it's like the people are friends and they get along and everything is fine.
It's like, it's kind of like a crack ship, but it at least isn't like problematic. It just doesn't make sense.
And it's not that much of a crack ship, because they exist in the same universe and they're friends.
Yeah.
But there's also like no like indication of it, but...
Doctor Strange and Tony, though, really.
Happened. Yeah.
I knew it. It was like...
I was not expecting it. I was just
consciously...
I was just scrolling through the tag, like, through Tumblr, and I was like, people have started doing that now, haven't they?
It's like... You guys can't see me, but it's like, I'm just like, I wasn't consciously like, this is definitely gonna be a thing that people are going to adore, but it's like, I saw it and I was like, yes, it has begun. It was like, in the back of my brain, it's like, because it's like, they're both so sarcastic and immediately started butting heads, and I was just like, yep. Somebody on Tumblr gonna love that!
It was actually a surprising amount of people.
Yeah.
I mean, once again, it's not the worst ship that has ever been contrived by human brains.
I just don't see it at all.
Neither do I.
But, it's not problematic. They're friends. They exist in the same universe, but it's
they're debatably friends. They don't hate each other.
But it's also just kind of like, why? What made you think this?
I mean, sometimes what I've noticed with shipping is that sometimes it's not like there's any actual indication in the show that makes them think, yes, they're definitely going to be shipped. Sometimes people just like the idea of it, and they're like, I know it has no chance and had no foundation in canon, I just like the idea of it.
That's true, and it's like, there's nothing in canon about it, but then again, there's nothing in canon really against it, except the fact that Iron Man's getting married. But it's
that's a bit of a...
I'm not like one of those people that it's like, there are a ton of people, like, a ton of the things that people had an issue with, like, with, Steve and Tony, was that people were just like, Tony can't be queer, he's such a womanizer, and it's just like, he can be a manonizer too, my god.
A manonizer.
He can be both. And it's like the same thing where it's like, there's this talk about having, like, James Bond be a girl, and people are like, James Bond is too much of a womanizer to be a girl, and it's just like, lesbians exist. But it's like, I hate the argument. It's like, I don't really ship him with anybody. I like him with Pepper, and it's like, I don't like ship him with Tony, though if it happened I wouldn't have an objection. And then again with Doctor Strange, I'm kind of like, I'm confused, but I don't really have an issue.
There's like nothing wrong with it, so you guys can just do what you want and be happy.
But it's like, I just hate it when people are like, this person can't be queer because they really like girls, and it's just like, they could also really like guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be an absolute, you're just, what kind of logic is that?
So that was that discussion.
I felt like it had to be addressed. But yeah, that's all of the talking points that I have.
We're ending on that, really.
I kind of avoided it, and then I felt like that it needed to be discussed, and then now it's like,
How
that's all
about
I
we
got.
talk about the bubble thing? There's so many bubbles. What's with all the bubbles?
That's true.
Anyway, so now we officially haven't ended on the last topic. So
There was, like, a lot of, like, bubbles things. There's a lot of, like, strange aesthetics in Marvel movies, but I like support.
true.
Yeah. But overall, loved it. I have a lot of
Yeah.
feelings about it, obviously. I'm very excited for the next one. And then hopefully it's not going to be the end of, like, the Avengers. Because even though I feel like after this, if they were going to end it, I wouldn't be sad about it. Because I'd be like, this is, like, a good place to end it and a good way to, like, stop the story. But also it's like, they can get so much more out of, like, all the characters that even if they don't have to do some, like, big high-stakes things to top what they just did, it's like they could just have a movie with lower stakes and just, like, more domestic Avengers moments and more humor and more like just developing the characters and like relationships between characters and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, Infinity War was good.
Yeah.
Marvel was great. And that's all we have to say.
Yeah, I do actually have one more thing to say. I feel like with they have to have like one more Avengers movie after this, I feel like, at least, because they have to, like, especially if someone major dies, because then they have to have a movie with them dealing with the aftermath of that.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is probably going to happen with Guardians of the Galaxy, especially if Gamora really is dead. So then it's like, I feel like they have to do that with the Avengers, too. So, yeah.
I hope no one major dies. But anyway.
Yeah, that's all we've got. Make sure to do whatever you gotta do to keep up with this, podcast.
Bye.